In the last video, we have seen Renaissance period. Today, we are going to learn about the sub-periods under Renaissance age. So, in Renaissance, the Renaissance age can be divided into four sections. The first one is Elizabethan age. Elizabethan age from 1558 to 1603, and the second one is Jacobean age from 1603 to 1625. Then the third one is Caroline age from 1625 to 1649. The fourth age is called Commonwealth period or Puritan age. It is from 1649 to 1660. So these four are the periods under Renaissance period. So we need to know about each period separately. So Elizabethan period is a very important period in English literature, especially in the case of English drama. It is the greatest period for English drama that we need to remember. It is the greatest period for English drama. And in this period is from late 16th century to the early 17th century. Okay, this is the period for Elizabethan age. So this period has continued even after the death of Queen Elizabeth. Based on the Queen Elizabeth, the period name is given as Elizabethan age. So as I have mentioned earlier, drama was flourished in this period a lot. So the greatest dramatists in English literature, William Shakespeare, he has written most of his dramas in this period, and we can we can see other dramatists as well, like Christopher Marlowe, Ben Jonson, Edmund Spenser, and Philip Sidney, and Francis Bacon, okay, etc. So these are the important figures in Elizabethan age. Okay, there are many others are there. I have just mentioned some of them. Okay, so what is the importance of Elizabethan age? So there is in this period, there is a rapid growth in English commerce. So the business was developed in this period, and nationalist feeling is there. Nationalist feeling in the people, because there is a defeat in Spanish Armada. In 1588, okay, there is a English was defeated in Spanish Armada. With that, nationalist feeling was developed a lot in England, and it conquered even sea travel also. So by this, we can see some development in England in Elizabethan age. So you're going to learn what are the important dramas of William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, and Ben Jonson. These three we can remember them as dramatists. And Edmund Spenser is basically he's a poet. Okay, most famous poems written by Edmund Spenser are Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen is very famous poem written by Edmund Spenser. And Philip Sidney, we can remember him as as a critic. So he has written wonderful criticism. An apology for poetry is an essay, an apology for poetry. Okay, essay written by Philip Sidney. And Francis Bacon, we can remember him as an essayist. But even though there are poets or critics and essayists, so this period is mainly for dramas. So William Shakespeare ruled the English stage in this period. So then comes next is Jacobean age. So James I came to power in this time. James in Latin is called as Jacobus. It is called as Jacobus. Most of my teaching is based on M.H. Abram's Glossary of Literatums, and if at all I'll get some more time, I can teach you from other material as well. James is called in Latin as Jacobus. So that's why this age is called Jacobean age. In this age, what is more important in this age is prose was written much. Prose was written much in this poem, less poetry. Poetry is very less. And the writers who were there in Elizabethan age, they most of them continued in Jacobean age, because even after the death of Queen Elizabeth in 1603, so the same age was continued. And Jacobean age ended with 1625, so the time is very less. So that's why most of the times the writers were more or less same in age of Elizabeth and Jacobean age. And the famous works in Jacobean age are John Donne's sermons. John Donne's sermons, that is their metaphysical poetry, and Robert Button's Anatomy of Melancholy. Anatomy of Melancholy. Melancholy means the sadness. Melancholy. Anatomy of Melancholy. Okay, by Robert Button is in this time, and we can see King James himself translated Bible. Okay, translation of Bible has taken place in this period only. And there are many other writers in this period, but we can remember these are some of the important writers in Jacobean period as well. John Donne, Robert Button's, and then King James translation of Bible. Then coming to Caroline age, in this period, Charles I came to power in 1625. So again, Charles in Latin is called as Carolus. So that's why it is called Caroline age. Caroline age. In this age, there is a civil war. There is a civil war between, the supporters of king and the supporters of parliament. The supporters of parliament. So, the supporters of king who supported kingship, who felt that, king has to rule them. and who supported parliament. So we shouldn't be ruled by the kings and queens. We rule ourselves. We should rule ourselves. They're the supporters of parliament. So the supporters of king are called cavaliers. Cavaliers, supporters of king, and the supporters of parliament are called roundheads. They are called roundheads. Why they are called roundheads? Because their hair was cut short. Their hair was cut short. That's why they were called roundheads. So the civil war between cavaliers and roundheads was taken place in Caroline age. That we need to remember. And John Milton, John Milton has started his writing in this time. Who is John Milton? So John Milton is one of the greatest poet in English literature, and his greatest work is Paradise Lost. He started writing his poetry in this period only, and we can see there are some religious poets in this period in Caroline age. So the religious period poets like George Herbert, and there is a prose writers like Robert Burton and Thomas Browne are also part of this time. George Herbert and others are called metaphysical poets, and we can see we can see those poets in this period. And coming to Commonwealth period or Puritan age, this period was literally ruled by John Milton. John Milton is one of the famous poet in this period, Puritan age. So what is Puritan? So in this period in 1642, the theaters were closed. Theaters were closed because the content what is presented on the stage was not suitable to the people, and it was polluting the people. That's why theaters were closed in 1642, and in 1649 Charles I was killed. Charles I was killed. He was hanged, executed, and England was ruled under the leadership of Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell. In his leadership, the England was ruled. So this is the greatest period. This is the period in which John Milton has written his pamphlets, political pamphlets, and we can have the famous work that is Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan. Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan. It is one of the famous work which was written in 1651, and there are some other writers, but these are very important ones. So these are the 4 periods. In your exam point of view, what are the important points you need to remember? Here, so these 4 periods come under Renaissance period. You will be asked, what are the 4 periods that come under Renaissance period? You need to remember Elizabethan age, Jacobean age, Caroline age, and Commonwealth period or Puritan age. What are you have to remember the year numbers, right? From which year to which year? Elizabethan age from 1558 to 1603, and Jacobean age is 1603 to 1625, right? and Caroline age is from 1625 to 1649, and Commonwealth period or Puritan age is from 1649 to, and sometimes it is said 1642 also. If it is given as a 1642 to 1660, of course, you can take it as a Puritan age. Why? Because in 1642, theaters were closed. Actually, the king was executed in 1649. So this period has come to an end with the death of Oliver Cromwell in 1658. 1658, Oliver Cromwell passed away. Then in 1660, Charles II, King Charles II, he came to power. So with him, Stuart, Stuart period, Stuart lineage has started. Yeah, Stuart monarchy has started with him. Okay, so the 1660 is called Restoration period. Who restored? Charles II, the King Charles II was restored again to the England. So these are the four periods, and you will be asked, what is the greatest period for English drama? Whether it is Elizabethan age, Jacobean age, Romantic age, or the Victorian age, you will be asked. Then you must know that the greatest period for English drama is Elizabethan age. What is the the period? It is late 16th century. So we can see here 1558 and early 17th century. This period is called Elizabethan age. In this time, commerce and COH and nationalist feeling. Why nationalist feeling? Because in Spanish Armada in 1588, English was the England was defeated. So there is a nationalist feeling is also there. So in this period, dramas were written and presented, are acted. So the greatest dramatists in English literature belongs to this period only. They are William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Ben Jonson. Okay, these three are important writers. And Edmund Spenser is a poet. What is his famous work? Fairy Queen. And Philip Sidney, he's a critic. And Apology for Poetry. Francis Bacon is an essayist of truth, and many essays he has written. These are the important writers in Elizabethan age. You will be asked, who among the following are Elizabethan writers? You will be given some list. Out of four, one writer will be different. Then you must be able to, identify them. So you need to remember them. Coming to Jacobean age, why Jacobean? James I is the king at the time, and in Latin, James is called Jacobus. So that's why it is called Jacobean age. And prose was written much, poetry was very less. So here also we can see there is some good poetry, by the hands of Edmund Spenser and others. But here it is more, prose. So John Donne's sermons and Robert Button's Anatomy of Melancholy. It is a very famous question, even in UGC NET and TS set. They'll ask a lot of times, who's the writer of Anatomy of Melancholy? Robert Button. You have to remember. And King James, he translated Bible in this period only. And coming to Caroline age, king is Charles I. In Latin, Charles is called Carolus, so that's why it is Caroline age. Civil war took place in this time. So civil war was between the supporters of king and the supporters of parliament. So the supporters of king are called Cavaliers, and the supporters of Parliament are called Roundheads. So John Milton has started his poetry in this period only, and yeah, uh, yes. There are religious poets like George Herbert. He's a metaphysical poet in this time only. Here, I forgot to mention one more point. There are Cavalier poets. Okay, who are the supporters of king, right? Cavalier poets. Their poet is witty, very clever and polished. Okay, and it is about courtship, and it is about gallantry. Gallantry means courageous fight in war. So they have written much about that. Who are the Cavalier poets? So we have a list of Richard Lovelace, and John Suckling, Thomas Carew, and Robert Herrick. These four are called Cavalier poets. You will be asked, who is not a Cavalier poet? So the one name will be changed. So you will be asked. You have to remember these four are Cavalier poets. Coming to Commonwealth period, why it is Commonwealth period? Because it was ruled by the leaders, not by the kings. Who ruled England at this time? It was ruled by Oliver Cromwell. In this period, you have to remember some names, some dates as well. In 1642, theaters were closed because a lot of unnecessary things were presented on the stage. So it is corrupting the people, and they closed it. They want to purify the stage. That's why it is called Puritan Age. In 1642, theaters were closed. In 1649, Charles I was executed. He was hanged. He was killed. Oliver Cromwell came to the power, and in this period, John Milton has written pamphlets, political pamphlets. He has written much, and Thomas Hobbes. The famous work is Leviathan. Okay, Leviathan is a sea monster. Okay, it was written in 1651. Very famous work. You will be asked about it. And in 1658, Oliver Cromwell died and passed away. And in 1660, Charles II was, Charles II came to power, and with him, Stuart monarchy has started in England. So these are the important points related to the sections of Renaissance period. Try to remember and try to read them again and again, as these points are very important. So just listening to it may not help you. You need to write down them. You have to look them regularly. Thank you.